This question is asking to simplify this complex fraction here. So remember, it's a complex fraction because we've got fractions within the fractions. So you look at the numerator, right? This is the main fraction of r. The numerator consists of this guy, right? 1 over x plus 1 over y. And the denominator, there's two fractions down here as well, right? 1 over x squared minus 1 over y squared. Okay, so what does it mean to simplify? To simplify means, we want to obviously cancel out any common factors, but really we want one fraction in the final answer. Okay, so we only want one fraction in the final answer. So what we're going to do then is we're just going to do these separately. Okay, we'll simplify 1 over x plus 1 over y separately. Then we'll simplify 1 over x squared minus 1 over y squared. Right, we'll do that separately, and then we'll see what we can do from there. All right, so let's take a look then. Okay, we'll just do 1 over x plus 1 over y. Okay, so the LCD in this case, right, what is the LCD here? The LCD is just going to be xy. So that means we want to get xy on this denominator. We want to get xy on the second denominator. Okay, and then what we do is we just compare, right? This is the original fraction. This is the LCD. We notice that the y was being multiplied here in the first fraction, so that's what we're going to do in the numerator, right? We're going to multiply the numerator by y. And similarly, we look at the second fraction. This is the original fraction here. This is the LCD, right? What do you notice has happened? Right? We're multiplying by x. So that's what we're going to do on the numerator as well, right? We're going to multiply that by x. Okay, so now that you have the same denominator, we can combine them into one fraction. And then we just do whatever the numerator tells us to do, right? Y plus x. Okay, so we get y plus x here. Okay, so this is the result of simplifying the numerator. So now let's do the same to the denominator. Okay, so we got 1 over x squared minus 1 over y squared, and we want to combine these into one fraction. Okay, so what's the LCD here? Right, the LCD here is going to be x squared times y squared. Okay. So let's do the same thing, right? We want x squared y squared on the first fraction. We want x squared y squared on the second fraction. Okay, so when we compare, the first fraction, you notice that it's already an x squared, right? This is the LCD. What has happened? Well, we've multiplied by y squared. So let's do the same thing to the numerator. Multiply that by y squared. And then when we compare the second fraction, this is the original fraction. This is the LCD that we want to end up with. What has happened? We've multiplied by x squared here. Right? So we're going to do the same on the numerator. Right? We're going to multiply the numerator also by x squared. Okay, so finally, we can combine these into one fraction. The LCD is x squared y squared. The numerator is y squared minus x squared. Okay, so this is the result of just simplifying the denominator, right? Okay, so we've simplified the numerator to get this guy right here. We simplified the denominator to get this guy right here. All right, so now let's rewrite this just as a fraction, right? So we get the y plus x over xy, and all of that divided by y squared minus x squared over x squared y squared. Okay, so let's take a look. How many fractions do we see on the numerator now? Right, we see one fraction on the numerator. We see one fraction on the denominator, right? And here's where we use this neat little property. Okay, so we can rewrite this as y plus x over xy divided by y squared minus x squared over x squared y squared. Right? The reason why I'm writing it this way is just to point out, right, that we are dividing fractions. Okay, but as we've learned, we don't actually divide by fractions, right? What do we do instead? Right? Instead, we multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, so we're going to flip and switch. Okay, so we're going to switch from a division into a multiplication, and then we're going to flip or take the reciprocal of the second fraction. Okay, so these two problems are the same, right? This is a division problem, but we've converted it into a multiplication problem, right? The good thing about the multiplication is, right, now we can start canceling out. Okay, see anything that we have in common that we can cancel out. Well, we'll take a look at this guy. We'll factor this, right? This is a difference of two squares. Right? So hopefully from here you should be able to determine what cancels out. Right? Well, the y plus x will cancel out with the y plus x. This is the x squared y squared, this is x and y, right? So it turns out that one of these should cancel out with one of these, and then that y will cancel out with one of those y's. Right, so that leaves us with the final answer. Okay, so what's left? We have xy on the numerator, and we have a y minus x on the denominator, and there's your final answer.